All right, we're flowing. Just the two of us.
Just the two
I
of
knew
us.
I knew you were gonna sing it.
And as I was singing, I was like, I should not be singing. Paolo should be the one singing.
I charged too much for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we've heard. Still waiting, buddy. Still
Yeah,
waiting.
me too.
Last week's episode was so cool. Just love having guests on. Jason was awesome. I could see us definitely having several more sessions with him. So if you missed last week's, go back and check out. We talked about EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, and just kind of life, being a dad, being a provider,
Yeah.
being a husband, losing it all. And we ended that episode with me recalling how Jason put this old junker truck on the screen when I saw him presenting. And it was kind of after they lost this big multi-million dollar business, and he was literally hauling trash, bought this like rusty old truck, embarrassed to drive it around, but he was like going to do the best he could. And the coolest part of the story was just how much his son loved that truck and thought he was just a cool dude because of
Yeah.
that. And it always brings me back and us back to the people that really matter, the people that are judging us. And I don't, judging is not always a bad way. Like they don't care really
Yeah.
about that stuff. They care about like how you're showing up, right? Jason said the feeling that your family gets when they hear the garage door open when you get home or they hear the car pull in the driveway, like that's a measure of the person that you are to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, woman, whatever it might be. So we had this opportunity today where I realized we really haven't talked a lot about kind of parent kid stuff lately. Sometimes we go really like we have several episodes where we're really heavy in kid stuff, probably paralleling what's going on in our own life because that seems to be how our pods run. So I'm going to shut up for a second, but I'm really excited to talk about two things today. On one, nervous system, and two, environment. And I have a direct Alexander story that just reiterates the impact of environment and how important it is.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying about the episode with Jason, I I just really love you and I and people like Jason. We're kind of a different ilk, right? That we have our brains are wired differently. We're just sometimes it can feel a little lonely in the spaces that we're in. We're trying to bring so much impact and people aren't open to receive it. So I just loved meeting someone who I think if there were about 5 or 6 times during the interview or the interview the episode where he literally said something I had like stored ready to say when I was going to speak again.
Yeah.
Then I just love that. So ton of value for people that got the chance to listen. Go back and listen if you haven't. And
Hmm.
like you said, we'll have him on again. It was great. Yeah, I'm curious to hear you kind of jump into this with your story here and kind of
Yeah.
set the tone with that.
I want to just touch real quick on that. How did you feel after the podcast with Jason? Like, how did you feel inside, or just what was your overall?
I mean, it always is stuff like that when we have guests like that is just fired up and
Yeah.
you've kind of meeting folks like that. It's almost like collectibles. I,
Hmm.
I see someone like a Fred like that as
Yes.
I met Fred, know Fred now. Haven't seen him since the first time I met him, but you wouldn't have thought that because we actually communicate a fair amount.
I
At
fixed
least
that.
once a week, we're sending a message to each other about something.
Love that.
So it fires you up in that sense. It's like another soldier in the fight of
Mm,
trying to change humanity, and that can sound a little much for some people, and that might actually make people feel a bit brash or hearing someone say we're trying to change humanity, but
yeah.
at the heart of it, that's what we're trying to do, one person at a time, and
Yeah.
meeting more people that are in this fight with you. I feel the same way whenever I meet other FDNs, or I mean, just yesterday I was in the city on a job and I was listening to FDN have their summer open house, and I was listening to a bunch of trainees that are doing it right now, and it took me back to where I was 18 months ago when I was doing it, and
Yeah.
I was really energized by that
Yeah.
because it was knowing there's other people out there Um, there, my buddy Sean, who I did a podcast with, and he needs to come on here. We need to get him on. He said something to me. He's just like, "You, you to me are activated stardust. Like you've been
Mm.
put here to do good in the world." And
Woo.
that's kind of how I felt with Jason, and always feel that with you.
Mhm.
Um, and I, when he said that to me, it kind of made some sense in the fact, because I just have this something in me, and a lot of people don't understand it. Even people close to me just don't understand it because
Yeah.
it's something that's in you. Yeah, so just meeting someone else that's on that path, it fires you up, it really does.
Yes.
And that, I think that makes his point even stronger, and it's also why I'm doing this meetup stuff. You need to be around other people doing it. You need to be in masterminds or groups of people who are on the same mission as you, because it can feel very lonely. It can feel very easy to give up
Mhm.
or not put as much effort in because you don't feel like you're getting traction. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's great. It's just great to be around people like that, and thank you for bringing him in and introducing us.
You're welcome. I knew you guys would get along. I energized was just the word for me, like getting off the session. I always feel good after we meet. They're like little mini therapy sessions. Like the podcast is like mini therapy for
Yeah,
us, for me at least sometimes. Um, and it all goes back to support this point that we're constantly talking about. And environment matters.
yeah,
When I've been going through a 30-30-30 challenge with real estate, conversation, lonely at the top. Going through nervous system regulation with high performing, multi six figure women, lonely at the top. Um, it's that old phrase, and it's very true, but it's also super easy to solve that. Like, we are in a day and age where we have too much information, access to too many people. So to me, it's more the cutting through the noise to decide who do I want to spend my time around? What rooms do I need to be in? What am I bringing to these rooms? What do I want from these rooms? The conversations that I keep having too, like, okay, well, we don't want to go out and do drinking networking anymore. We want to
yeah,
do movement networking. Okay, where but it doesn't exist. And I'm like, well, yeah, because we have to create it. So if you're not willing to create what it is that you want, what you're craving, then you just become a complainer, and then that's a whole other conversation. But I have Fred and Dory written down on my paper right here, so that you brought Fred up. I want to talk about two things with environment. We could fill the whole podcast for it, but two things specific that brought this up for me today. One, my son's birthday, Alexander turned 14, and he's always had a friend group, but his last school, he just didn't thrive in it, right? Like, it was more, I would say, a lot of the boys especially were more geared athletically. That's never been Alexander's thing. He's always been more musical, more artistic, and of course, you put in vegan on top of that, and that did not create a great, I don't know. I don't want to say the word foundation. It just didn't create an ideal environment for him
right,
in the kids that he was around. Nothing wrong with the environment. Nothing wrong with those kids, right? It just didn't jive. Um, Made the move, kudos to my ex-husband, because I we wouldn't have most likely done this. Made the move. We're here in Montgomery in New Jersey now. Instantly, Alexander made friends, instantly made a huge group of friends, and when I say huge, I'm probably like 7 to 8 friends. That was huge.
yeah,
Um, and it culminated for me all of the stress that I have been going through and selling my house up in Hunterdon County, taking on a expensive rental in Princeton, carrying a mortgage, carrying a rental, all of this stuff. Alexander looked at his phone after we had a great celebration day on Saturday. We had fun with my family. He was with his dad in the morning. Ben and his kids were with us for a hot pot. Then we went back and opened gifts, and the kids were just dancing around and being silly, an impact that Alexander has on them. And then Alexander ended up looking at his phone. He said to me, "Mom, my friends really care." And I'm pausing there for a minute because that is such a powerful sentence for anyone let alone a teenage boy who has not really felt a lot of care from his friends or like he really jived. That sentence was like all I needed, right? As the mom to fuel me through all the other stresses. um and it makes me like ask myself, like, we're very fortunate and to sit down and really ask ourselves, like, do our friends really care?
Yeah.
And environment matters. And if you're not in the right environment and it is not suiting you and you've done the work, okay, what am I contributing to this environment? Is there anything that I can shift? And even if the options require big action, getting out of a toxic relationship, romantic or friendship or
Yeah.
business, picking up and moving where you live, right? If your environment does not suit you, you're not a tree. Like, you can get up and leave. You can get up and move, and it's not to run away from things, but we have to find the environments that we're going to thrive in, or we have to decide how we can make the best of the environments that we can't shift. And I'm going to roll right into a second story. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you go and I'll be quiet. The second part of that is protecting your environment. And Fred and Dory, and I hope it's okay I share the story. Ooh, that rhymes. Um,
Look at you.
they gave such an amazing, of course, without even meaning to, because like when you're just amazing, awesome people and a power couple like they are, the way you roll is just like a cool thing to role model in a lot of ways. They
Yeah.
never claimed to be perfect or not work through issues, but we were there for Friendsgiving and uh getting to meet really cool people. Ben and I joked, when you see the group picture of us, like Ben and I stand out like a kind of like a sore thumb. We're just like around all these different cultures, people coming in from all over, a melting pot of just who Fred and Dory are. And one of the people that was there, I guess, had a newer boyfriend and had said to them like, "Hey, I'm going to bring my boyfriend." And they were like, no. And that was, like, almost shocking to me because, like, my mom and I, like, we let strangers in the house, right? It's like, "Oh, okay, we don't even know who you are, you need to come in?" And Fred was like, "If we had known, we would have loved to meet this person, and we would have welcomed him into this party, but we don't know this person. And, like, this person is coming into our home. Our son is here in this home. Everything that, what we've created is here in this home." And that was just this amazing example to me of really protecting the environment that you've worked hard to create.
Yeah.
Um, and it took some power to be like, "Sorry, like, this person, it's not that they're not welcome, but we don't know them, and that this is not the event to do it." So that was just really, like, a big eye opener to me, that it is completely okay to say no, that it is, completely okay to not deeply and intimately invite everyone into your life and home, until you've had an opportunity to discover, is this really someone that I wanna sync my brainwaves up with? Is this really someone that I wanna be around for my nervous system? Is this really
Yeah.
someone that I want to be around my kids, my spouse, my whatever? So just 2 really just powerful things.
No, I love those examples, and you know, we've moved schools for the boys, and it's always tough when one is doing well and the other's not,
Mm,
because you have to make a tough choice of, okay, well, we're pulling this one out of this one, and he's actually doing well. This is a good situation for him, but on the other hand, this is not a great place for him.
yeah.
So we've done that, and I totally relate to that. Uh, it can. I think that the overall point, and I want to get this book. I forget if I mentioned it already. Suicidal Empathy. Did I talk about that
No.
yet?
Mm-mm.
It's more a larger take on society, where in this effort to be kind,
Mm,
or what we perceive as kind, virtue signaling a lot of the time, we're
mhm.
actually killing ourselves, not in the literal sense, but we're
Yeah.
actually demeaning and lowering the bar for the environments we're in.
Mhm.
And I think that that happens so often. You stay in these friend circles that just don't serve you. And I'm always cautious to say cut these people out or
Mm.
don't see. There are people that I love, but when I've been with them for even just an hour, I feel
Yeah.
drained.
Yeah.
I'm emotionally drained. And you just have to be conscious of that and make an effort to, okay, I know I can just handle small doses with these people. That's
Yes.
it. Otherwise, it's going to bring me down. And that conversely, there are other people like yourself. I can name a bunch of people that I feel fired up after I'm with them,
Mhm.
and that's the people I want to be around. It's funny because with my big 40 coming up, I want to do something to celebrate with friends at the end of the year,
Yes.
and I'm actually having a really hard time putting together a list of the people I want there because it's not that I wouldn't want some individual time with some of them, but it's about getting that dynamic to the whole
Yeah.
point with the Fred thing. You want
Yep.
the right dynamic. I don't want people who spend their whole life moaning about politics. I
Yep.
don't want people who are victims because that just brings the vibe down. I want conversations to be positive. I don't
Mhm.
care what your political leaning is. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just care that your intentions are always positive, your outlook is always positive, and it's not
Mhm.
going to be a conversation complaining about this person or that person or this group or that group. It's all about positive vibes. And I think we do need to audit who we give our time to.
Yes.
And it's really, really important. I'm pretty good at that, I'd say. Like I said, I make sure that if someone drains my energy,
Mhm.
but I have love for them, I will spend time with them. And it's not
Yeah.
like the whole time sucks. It's just you have to work really hard to keep the conversation out of going this direction and keep it in a positive frame.
Mhm.
Um, so, you know, I've moved careers a lot. I've started businesses and ended some businesses. I don't have a problem with kind of shedding my skin and making sure my environment suits me.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's really important that we adapt our environment to us versus us adapting to our environment.
Mhm.
That's a real big one
Yeah.
because I know we wanted to talk about nervous system a little bit, but I don't think
Well, this is
people
all nervous
realize
system work too.
you've got this kind of computer running in the background the whole time, taking all
Mhm.
these inputs, and I don't think people understand enough that if you're around those negative people, if you're around situations that don't make you feel good, even though you might think you're putting on, you're maintaining frame, you're keeping a positive mindset in the background, the computer's working overtime to protect you, and that will eventually drain your nervous system
Yeah.
to a point where you'll start getting sick and you need more intense interventions.
And not only you're working overtime, your brain waves actually start to sync up.
Yeah,
It's the closer you are with that person, the more synced they become. It's like your best friend or your wife where you can finish their sentence, right? It's because
right.
it's not just because you know each other well, it's actually scientifically shown that your brain wavelengths are syncing up together.
Yeah,
So complaining, there's actually no scientific evidence that there's anything good about complaining. People are like, "Oh, I just have to vent. I just have to do this." Um, Complaining without being willing to take a different action, if you're willing to take a different action or really look at it and rewrite the story, then there's value to it. But complaining just to complain, you're actually scientifically rewiring your brain to look for complaining, to look for the things that are negative in your life, to support that story that you have running. That's all neuroscience, right? Neuroscience, nervous system regulation.
yeah,
Um, and again, misery loves company. Here we are talking back about environment. So if you are a person that's prone to complaining and negativity, you don't like being around people that are prone to positivity and like, okay, well, that fucking sucks, but what are you gonna do about it? If that's the truth, what are you gonna do about it? What are you willing to do about it? Where's the evidence showing up? Where can you point to that you actually want a different outcome or you wanna change something? Um, and to me, like, that's where a really good coach comes in.
yeah.
Um, I just went off on a tangent, and like this is bringing me to something else that I had a little aha moment about this morning with my sponge.
Okay. Oh well, but just a PSA about
Yeah.
sponges.
Yes.
Change your fucking sponges.
Exactly. Okay. So
I don't
this
think
is
you
perfect.
understand how much bacteria and shit those things hold in them.
Yes.
Change
Yes.
your
So
sponges.
are you talking about dish sponges and body sponges?
Every sponge.
Every sponge. Okay, agreed.
You think? What do you
And
think? They just absorb the good stuff?
so fully agree, and that actually stopped me from actually using a sponge. I mean, I use sponges for my dishes, but like in the shower, no. Because of the bacteria and everything else.
Yeah.
So I have to say though that I did some research and I bought a few natural sponges, and I have a few because I will use them for a short period of time and get rid of them now. But what I discovered with my sponge is a tool, right? So I have really beautiful Italian natural body wash that I love. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. And you're in the shower, you put it in your hand, I kind of like rub it around and, wash my body, but it really wasn't doing a lot. So by adding this tool of the sponge, the natural sponge, putting on less than I would put into my hands and just working it a little bit, I get this great, amazing lather. I get the scent of the mandarin oranges that, it's made from. I'm able to like wash my whole body with it. Like it all gets it. And so it's actually you using less products and it's making it more effective and efficient. And I'm very utilitarian when it comes to certain things. So I love that. So it was just like putting the two things together, very simple. I had this belief like no sponges, and maybe you're going to yell at me. My intent is to not, just use it forever. The other thing is when you go to rinse it out, like it takes a while to really get all of the soap out or whatever you put into it. So like just it made me feel like your body as a container. And when you think you've kind of flushed everything out, there's still probably a little bit more. And checking for, hey, is there residual from this trauma? Is there residual from this emotion or this feeling? And if there
Yeah.
is, like, just do those double checks to see like what you're actually carrying around, right? Because if we're walking around like dirty bacteria filled sponges, that's not an ideal thing, and then we're taking that and rubbing it back all over our body. So I just wanted to be like the right tools, and to me like coaching is almost like I feel like as a coach like I'm the sponge, right? I'm taking what the client already has and we're amplifying the good, we're squeezing out what we need to squeeze out, we're making decisions from there, and then we're like, rinsing and repeating. So it was like a silly little analogy, but it made sense to me, and that's my sponge story.
No, and that has a lot of truth to it. It kind of made me think of the Mohs surgery that I had for the basal cell in my
Mm,
ear, where they go around, they look for the margins, right? They don't want to
mhm,
just make sure they want to have a big enough buffer between the good cells and the bad cells.
mhm,
And that's so true that we think just when we think we've dealt with some trauma or some grief, it just takes that one thing. Maybe it's that song that plays, or
mhm,
it's someone says a phrase that triggers a memory about
mhm.
that person or that situation, and it brings it all up, and you don't realize you're actually still holding on to it. So
Yeah.
I think when it comes to dealing with these kind of things, you got to go to the margins. You don't just stop when, oh, I feel like I'm over that now. So no,
Mm,
keep working,
yeah,
keep meditating, keep journaling, keep the gratitude practice up,
yeah.
because you don't really necessarily know what's happening under the surface.
Mhm.
And I did that stress workshop this week, and it's always funny. You probably experience this as a coach. There's so many things you absorb and but that you don't get to say it out loud so much.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice reminder of I need to spend more time driving this message home. And the big thing was okay, we know what stress is, right? We
Mhm,
understand the mental. I'm stressed out. This situation stressed me out. I'm hurt from this. I'm stressed.
mhm,
But there's the physical stress, and then
mm,
there's the chemical, environmental stress.
mhm.
And if you don't actually address all three of them, you could be focusing on the meditation, the gratitude, on really working on relieving stress and managing stress. But then if you're poisoning yourself with, I don't know, microplastics or heavy metals from the drinking water or the chemicals in your deodorant or whatnot, you're not, you're just kind of rebalancing the scale. You're not actually removing that stress. So
Yeah.
I think it's really key, especially when we're talking about environment and stress and regulating the nervous system, that we actually focus on all three of them.
Yes.
I have such a hard time with these high intensity group fitness classes
Mm.
because you could have
They
people walking in there carrying so much stress, their
Yeah.
adrenals are absolutely tanked. And then you're throwing all of this physical stress on top of that. And you're making a problem that you may not see for a few years because
Mm.
you know it's a you're tight it's a balancing act, but eventually you're going to fall off the rope. And I've realized this with playing soccer again. I need 2 weeks in between games. I can't play every week. My body's just not ready for it. I had a
Yeah.
quad strain that was hurting my knee. I can't help myself. I'll run the whole 90 minutes sprinting around. My body
Mhm.
can't handle that. I can't handle that stress. So I
Yeah.
have to, much like we were talking about managing our environment, I'd love to play every week, but I just can't. And I
Yeah.
have to accept that. So just really focusing on all areas of stress, managing everything around you. What am I drinking? What am I putting in my body? What am I putting on my body? Our skin is very absorbent. It's going
Mhm.
to absorb all of that crap. Much
Our
to your point,
largest
the
organ in
sponge
our
is a
body.
great tool, but
Mhm.
to a point, you've got to remember, right now, I've got to change. It's like people who don't change their toothbrush.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to end up putting more bacteria in your mouth than you're getting rid of.
Yeah. And that's not being, like, germaphobe, like, I used to let Alexander crawl around on the barn floor. I would rather have him crawling on the
Oh, yeah,
barn floor than the mall floor. I think we're over sanitized in a lot of ways.
completely.
We don't give our body the opportunity to build up its own immune system because, like, everything's so overly sanitized. Um So we're not promoting, like, being germophobic, we're saying
Absolutely not.
just be aware, right? All this is about having consciousness, all this is about having intention, all this is about is, like, stopping, coming out of the chaos for a few moments to really look at, like, what you have in your life on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm.
And then there's things that you can easily shift and change or support or do more of or do less of, and there's other things that are a little more challenging because they involve other people.
Yeah.
And I am a really big believer in this. You don't have to go through big cutoffs and breakups with people. Now, if you're in an intimate relationship, certainly should do a proper
Yeah.
breakup, but it is okay to love people from afar. It's okay to say, like you said, like, I love this person, I care about this person. I just know at the state that this person is, like, their nervous system and how they're showing up in the world, and they're not really showing me that they wanna make any shifts or changes, I can't spend a lot of time around this person because I work too hard
Yeah.
to regulate my own nervous system. I work too hard to give everything that I can to my clients, to the people around me, that I have to make sure that I am keeping myself fueled and supported.
Yeah.
And it's easy to forget, like, I freely have given up, um, autonomy before. I have freely given up, environments that supported me for environments that didn't support me. And, like, that's okay, like, it doesn't like, there's no shame in that. There's no, like, "Oh, I made a bad mistake." Like, a decision is just a decision, and you
Yeah.
don't know the outcome. You can guess it. You can look at past experience and you can have an educated decision, but, like, you didn't make a wrong decision. You wouldn't have known what the outcome was gonna be or what was gonna happen, and then all that happened was data came back,
Yeah.
right? And that data is actually neutral. We are the ones as human beings that apply meaning to it, And then we either beat ourselves up, or we go into shutdown, or we take action to say,
Yeah.
okay, here's the data. All right, that kind of sucked. That wasn't good. But okay, what am I going to do next? What's
Yeah.
the next decision? Um, I really, really have to see this. Your emotions and your feelings are not wrong. They're not a problem that have to be like fixed. Like, emotions and feelings are good things. To feel like we're not going to feel those things, to me, is not reasonable. Like, we are emotional beings.
Yeah.
But how we respond, how we react, our capacity to hold those things and still continue to move, that's what nervous system fitness is. That's what regulation is. That's what environment, important, all the things that we're talking about. The grief that comes back up, right? Because that song comes back. I have a client that lost her husband of many, many years who I've been coaching. I coached her as a business professional, and then she went through the loss, and we coach a little bit differently now. Um, Grief is not linear. Like,
Yeah.
you can be rocking and rolling for years, and something happens, something triggers something, and you go like, oof, it gets heavy. You didn't fail. Like,
Yeah.
that's grief. That doesn't end. Missing a person doesn't end. All grief does is transform, and it transforms into a different thing, and it transforms you into a person that you now operate in this world with this new information, with these new experiences. And instead of trying to feel like we have to control it and stop the certain feelings, like, no, like, we just have to embrace it and hold capacity for it, and then decide what we want our life to look like, and then be moving towards that. And you have to be able to look back and say, here's the evidence to prove, like, this is what I want in my life.
100%.
So, and
Made me
don't do
think.
it alone.
No, but
We're not meant to.
I'll end my my spiel on the little story. So a couple of weeks ago, we were in AC for a work thing. Um, four of us went out for dinner afterwards. They were all senior people to me. It was kind of like the chain of command from the president down. And we went out for dinner, you know, throwing back some wine, had some old fashioned, some whiskey at the end. Then the plan was, all right, dinner, let's go and get drinks afterwards.
Mhm.
And I say all the time, right? I like to go to bed early. At this point, it was like 9:30, so it was already past my bedtime.
Not 9:30,
Now,
woo.
a lot, and this is not me saying what a great person I am. I'm just using an example of showing you it's okay to maintain your frame and be who
Yes.
you want to be. We were leaving the restaurant. I was like, you know what, guys, I'm going to tap out. And could have been very tempting to be like, no, I'm going to stay with because
Mhm.
I can be in the club and hang with the big dogs at the company. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be who I want to be. I knew I wouldn't feel good the next morning if I was up that late drinking even more. And not one of them tried to talk me out of it
Love it.
or try and like bro me into it
Yep.
because and that's why I love working at this company is the environment. I'm in an environment where people accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
You don't want to come, all right, cool, no problem.
Yep.
And that was it. It's just four grown men
Yeah.
doing their own thing. So
Yep.
it's okay to say no sometimes, or to leave the party early, or to not even go. There are so many things that I sign up for, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling that. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
Why go?
Not only okay for yourself, but you make it okay for other people, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Don't guilt people or shame
no.
them into why aren't you coming?
No, but also, like, there may have been someone else in the group. Like, I used to do this. Um, Now, as I've stepped into more confident leadership, I do be like, you know what, listen, like, you guys go have fun. I did my dinner thing. I had great conversation. I'm good. Like, I
Yeah,
want to go back and get in bed, and I want to wake up early tomorrow morning and do my little workout at the gym and then come to session. Um, I used to feel like I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, right? So
exactly.
I would go along with it unless someone else was like, "Hey guys, this was great. I'm going to tap out." Then I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to go too." Right? Like, "Oh, I'm going to go back too." Like, they made it okay for me to kind of leave the tribe, right? Like, there's
Yeah,
safety in the tribe. I mean, back to our prehistoric brain, like, the tribe is there to protect you. And when you go off on your own, that's like, ooh, that's dangerous. And our nervous system, its whole job is to keep us safe. So
Yeah.
every single decision that we're making is like, does this keep me safe? Is this safe to do? And our brains don't necessarily know the difference between, this is the joke, like the saber-toothed tiger being around the corner and I leave the group, or the group talking about me or thinking or judging me because I've left the group. So
Yeah.
it creates the same response in the body. Um, it's so simple, it's so powerful. Environment matters. Curate it, protect it. You don't have to make big, huge deals and do big breakups with people or just ghost them. Just like love them from afar.
Yeah.
And the flip side of this is always, how am I showing up? How is someone else looking at me in their environment? Is someone else like, hey, we love hanging out with Tara. We love when we get to spend time with Tara. Like as a coach, I had to check myself a little bit lately. It's been a lot of stress. I was on a coaching call with Sky Michaels, super cool guy. If you don't follow him, please follow him, Sky SKYE Michaels. Um, we jumped on a call and like his energy was just right there. And I was like, oh, damn. Sky is showing up the way a coach is supposed to show up, the way that I want to show up. Am I showing up like that right now? Like, I don't think so. So
Yeah.
I checked myself.
But I
And
will say, be authentic.
yes,
Because if I showed up to a call, all right, let's get going. You ready, guys? Hey, Tara, how are you? Let's do the podcast. Like, that's way too much. That's not
yes,
authentic.
yes,
But be
no,
yourself. But yes,
yes.
you've got, to your point, you've got to show up. You've got to
To me,
show up how you
to
want
me,
people to perceive you.
yes. And to me, showing up, it's energy, not like that over energy. To me, my energy is, am I open to listening? Am I coming with an open mind? Am I ready to really like take things in? Am I here? Am I in a good place to support someone? Am I so cluttered up with all of my crap? Can I even take in anything else right now? That's for me, my energy that I really have to check. Like if my container is so full, I can show up with really good intentions to want to help you and coach you. But if I've got 20 things running in the back of my brain, like it does not matter what you're saying. I can care about you and want to do the best job for you. But if I have not settled my nervous system, if I have not kind of quieted that chaos, I am not in a position to listen. I'm not in a position to hold and support. I'm not in a position to hold a safe space for you because
Yeah.
my body and brain are like, this is not safe. Warning, warning. You have this going on, that going on. The world is not safe. This is not safe. Um, so it was just, again, being around people where I was like, okay, am I showing up the way that I need to show up?
Yeah.
And then making a shift. And my shift's been 30-minute silent walks every day. I thought it was a little weird at first. It was a suggestion that came from nervous system expert. And I have to say, I really love it.
Good. Yeah. I like to walk with things playing. It's just,
Yes.
that's my thing. But I think that especially, but having said that, I'm also, I've trained myself to be very good at just dropping into stillness.
Yes.
Like I can meditate in the middle of anywhere. I'll just close my eyes and I'm off. So I don't need to enforce that so much. But yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think to put a bow on it, I know I keep saying this is my last story. The I think we oftentimes neglect our I don't want to say responsibility. That sounds a bit much, but our opportunities to lead. And I've experienced both sides of this. We moved to this town, like we moved schools, right? So people were already like 5, 6, 7 years into it. They have their little cliques and things like that. And it's always really interesting when we're at social functions where people we're friends with are there. We always have to be a little off to the side because Braden's running around or whatever. We've got to kind of monitor him a little bit. It's always really interesting seeing that people will never come and drift and leave the crowd to come and be with us or come and talk to us. One-on-one, totally fine, right?
Yeah.
And I've had to have that conversation with Amy. It's like, it's not that they don't like us. It's their insecurity that they don't want to leave the tribe because they don't want to lose their status within that group.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think there's so, and I've been on the other side where I've seen people on the outskirts. I now make an
Yes.
effort to go and bring them
Yes.
in. Hey,
Yes. We
the
look
first
for
time
the
here, I haven't seen you
outliers.
before.
Yeah.
This is that's your chance to lead, because
Hmm.
do you want to be that person who just follows the herd? Saw that a lot during COVID. People who
Yeah.
just blindly follow, or are you
Yep.
going to stand on your principles and lead and show people it's okay to be regulated, be just stand in who you are.
Yeah. You know what else is okay? To not be regulated. It's okay. Like we're never going to be in a regulated state all the time, and maybe I mean I'm sure it's possible. But what's not okay is to not recognize it and not
Yeah,
shift. Right? Like that's just not okay. And so many people just go through life in this completely unregulated state that feels totally normal to them because that's just what it is. They have no clue. They're impacting, they're pissing off the grocery checkout person, they're upsetting their friends and family. And we chalk it up like, oh, that's just them. Like, stop it. Stop making excuses for people that are behaving poorly,
yeah,
because not only is it poor behavior and it's impacting you, but the truth is that person is suffering. Whether they realize it or not, they are living life in a very numbed level. And like that's not what is meant, I don't believe, for this human experience. And yes, are we here to learn different lessons? And do we need to learn the same lesson maybe 100 times sometimes? Sure, but like we have to stop letting people just operate on this low freaking frequency.
yeah,
And if they don't want help, if they don't want to come out of it, then I'll go back to a very simple thing that John Maxwell said. You can only save the people that are swimming towards the boat.
yeah. And
The
I,
people
I've
that
done.
want it.
I,
Yeah.
I've recognized when I've been in a bad mood, and I, I can tell sometimes that I have shifted that energy onto everybody else in the house,
Yeah.
and then I'm okay, and that's not okay. And
Right.
I've recognized that. But to your point, it's okay to be dysregulated, but
Yeah.
recognize that and stop yourself spreading it.
Yes.
Um, let's wrap it up because I do have to get the little one off
Wrap
to
it up.
school.
Wrap it up. Do you want to wrap it up or you want me to wrap it up?
No, that's your job.
Okay, let's
Don't
wrap it
don't
up.
give that responsibility to me.
Oh my God. All right. Well, as we move off today in just taking a stock of where you are right now, how's your nervous system feeling? How are you feeling? Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling like you're ready to take on the next part of whatever is in front of you? Asking yourself, does my next action support the person that I want to be? Does it support the life that I want to live? And if the answer is yes, then go and do whatever it takes to make it happen. And if the answer is no, you have permission to just sit in a little bit of silence and decide if you want to make a different decision. Surround yourself with people that support you, that push you, that challenge you, that you feel energized in when you leave. Make sure you're showing up as that person for other people. Spread love, shine the light where it needs to shine. Until next time, friends. Bye for now.